Okay, so this is part 3 of this mystery Saito 200 Ti engine. And the mystery only gets deeper. This engine is really confusing me completely. Now, what it hasn't been shown in a video, but might have been, no, it hasn't even been shown in an image, is I did find another issue, and now probably another one. So I'm just going to try to do this as briefly as possible. As you saw in the last video, I did reverse, or at least correct, the timing of this rear cylinder, and I will show that in that these rockers, exhaust, and valves operate opposite per the cylinder, the way I believe they should work, and the way my expert friend Harvey believes this engine should operate. However, when I came down here so excited that I fixed that, tried to prime it, I found that the engine was not taking a prime still, and that took me another, I don't know, 25-30 minutes to diagnose why that was. And I won't go through all the steps that I went through to diagnose that. I'll just cut it short and say what I found was the intake manifold for this rear cylinder had a crack in it, a big one, right at the ring, so you couldn't see it because it was covered by the nut. I mean, I don't know how that could possibly happen unless a previous owner put it in cocked or something, and I have no idea how that happened because the threads don't look damaged on the nut or the head, so I don't understand how that could possibly happen. But I will post a picture of it here showing you the extent of that crack, and it went around at least half of the intake manifold. I mean, it was, you could hear it when I was blowing air in there. So what I did was I sealed the inside of that intake manifold with JB Weld and the outside and let it cure, and this morning I blew through it and it sealed. So that was fine. I was all excited once again, saying, now I'm going to get to run this engine. Well, you're not seeing a run video. So I put everything back together, left the rocker covers off, valve covers off. And when I went to start priming the engine, I noticed something else that was incredibly strange and I've never seen before on a twin-cylinder engine. But this is a unique twin, but it's not right still. In that when I was priming the engine, now that this intake was fixed, it was actually taking a prime, but on one of the rotations, it would suck fuel, and then the second rotation, or a full rotation perhaps it was blowing the fuel back into the tank. And I'm like, what the hell is going on there? So I did attempt to start it, and of course it wouldn't start because they were canceling each other out. And for the life of me, I just don't understand that. For an engine that theoretically looks brand new, things are weird. Because when I reversed this timing camshaft here, or set it properly, retimed it properly, I had compression strokes on both cylinders, no problem. And then fixing the intake manifold, and it was hard for me to determine exactly which one of these was drawing the fuel when I was priming it, but there was definitely a prime. You could see the fuel coming in, and then you'd hear bubbles and see the fuel going back out into the tank. So one of the cylinders, it would appear that would make it sound like one of the camshafts is not correct. So right now I've got the carb off of this engine and the intake manifolds and the exhaust, and one of the things I was talking through with Harvey today was, he was like, well, put your finger over the intakes and the exhaust and feel a bit if you're feeling suck and blow at the proper times and stuff like that, which is what this video is going to be about. So this video is primarily for Harvey, but it's going to get posted publicly. And I'm going to go through that exercise because even doing that exercise confuses me to some degree, because I've never actually had an issue with a single cylinder or a twin cylinder engine, 4-stroke, where I've ever actually had to sit here and do this kind of thing before and feel these things. It's just not something that I've ever had to do. So the diagnosis of this engine, I'm breaking new ground for myself as far as what the hell does all this mean. So with that said, let me change the camera angle, get up here and show you the rest of the video. Okay, so for this first section I'm zoomed in really tight, and this is only to show the reverse rocker arm movement. So just keep an eye on them. I'm just going to rotate and see how they're not, the intakes and exhausts are not opening and closing at the same times like they were. Now it is my belief, and Harvey's belief, who I trust, that this is the way it should look. Now I'm going to stop here again, change the angle a little bit, and show you the things that I was feeling about intake, sucking, and blowing. Okay, so the setup for this last portion of the video is both glow plugs are installed in both cylinders so that we've got full compression on both. Obviously intake exhausts are off, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be placing my finger over one cylinder at a time and rotating the engine or the propeller the way it's supposed to be rotating. And I'm going to do it, and when I'm doing this I'm going to say I feel suction or I feel blow. I'm going to say suck or blow coming out of the port. I'll do it a few times on each port. Then I'll go to the front cylinder and I'll do the same thing. And then I'm going to rotate it backwards and do the same thing. And hopefully in that little bit of information or data, I can't make any sense of it. Hopefully Harvey will be able to make sense of it. So I have to try to get down here, get my arm in here, rotate this prop, and not be in the camera view. So this is tough. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to hold my finger over the intake of the rear cylinder. Feeling blow. Suck. Blow. Suck. That was that. Now I gotta go over here. Now I'm on the exhaust side. Suck. Suck. Blow. Suck. Blow. Suck. So the exhaust, I'm feeling a little blow and suck. Suck. Blow. Suck. So it's blowing, it seems like it's blowing when the exhaust is coming down and sucking when it's coming up, which doesn't make sense to me. And I have verified that the valve lash, to the best of my ability, is correct. So I'm going to do this exhaust one again because it's really confusing the hell out of me. And pay attention to what the rocker arms are. Sucking. Suck. 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 Blow. Suck. Let me do it faster. Suck. 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 So it just feels like there's a lot more sucking happening on this exhaust valve than there is blowing. Now the other thing I did was I grabbed my Saito FA120 single cylinder engine while I was in the apartment, took the rocker covers off, took the carb off, and I was doing the same thing. And I was definitely on the intake, obviously, with that engine especially. I was really feeling a strong suck on intake. Blow, suck, blow, suck, blow, suck. Now we're looking at intake again here. Blow, suck, blow, suck, blow, suck. So this one is like when it's going down, it's sucking, all right, blowing, blow, suck, and sucking when it's the valve's coming up. I don't get this. I don't get this at all. So now for this cylinder, I'm going to do reverse rotation. Blow. Let's do this again. Suck. Blow, it was like blow, suck. Blow, suck. Suck. Okay, so I feel like a little puff and then it starts sucking. Suck. Suck. Blow suck. Blow suck. This is so freaking confusing. Exhaust side now. Counter or wrong rotation direction. Suck. Blow. Suck. Blow. Suck. Suck. Blow, I think. Suck. 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 It's easier if I only focus on one action, either the suck or the blow, and rotate the prop faster, because it really gets confusing. Because ideally this should be going a lot faster doing this, but then you wouldn't see the rocker arm. So I'm just going to rotate it faster while still holding the exhaust on the rear cylinder. Blow. Suck. 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 Hopefully this is helping Harvey understand what the hell's going on, because all it's doing is confusing the crap out of me. Now we're going to go to the front cylinder. Intake side, proper propeller rotation, fairly rapid. Blow, suck, blow, suck, blow, suck, blow, suck, blow, suck, blow, suck. Now let me see if I can slow it down so I can actually pay attention. I'm paying more attention to what it feels like than watching this. Blow. Suck. So it still seems like the same thing here. I feel a little puff of blow when the intake is going down. And then as it's coming up, it's sucking. How in the hell does that work? Why is the movement of the intake doing both? Now Harvey said that might be something about valve overlap, but damn, I mean, how in the hell is it ever supposed to work if it's blowing there? I just felt it like a fart coming out of there, and sucking there. How is that ever supposed to operate? I don't get it, and this is why I haven't ever done this kind of thing on these kind of engines before, so this is probably not the best example to be trying to cut my teeth on and learn from, because it's so confusing. So I'm going to do it the same thing here, exhaust side, proper prop rotation. Don't pay attention to that finger, I just need it to support. Blow, suck, blow, suck, blow, suck, blow, suck, blow, suck, blow, suck. So to me, it's almost like, and this is something that Harvey said that might be too, it's almost like the whole freaking engine has the wrong camshafts installed. It's not just a matter of this one being placed here and them being reversed. It's almost like the wrong camshafts are installed in this engine. So I'm going to do the same thing finally, just to close this off here, with going the opposite direction. Blow, suck, blow, suck, wait, blow, suck, blow, suck, blow, suck. Same thing, felt about the same. Blow, suck, blow, suck, blow, suck. So both of them seem the same. It seems like they're sucking as whatever intake or exhaust is coming up, and blowing when they're going down. How in the hell is that supposed to ever work? This just blows my mind. I just don't understand this at all. So that's part 3 of this video. I'm not even sure where the hell to go from here. The other thing that Harvey suggested that I do, which is probably has to be the next step, is I happen to have a camshaft for, I have a Saito engine disassembled right now, and it doesn't matter what it is, it's a single cylinder engine. So the camshaft lobes would be similar to the front here. And his suggestion was take that out and look and see if the orientation of the exhaust and intake lobes correspond to the one on this. Meaning, if the intake, well, how would that ever work if it wasn't like that though, Harvey? I think what Harvey was saying is make sure that the camshaft lobe for the proper single cylinder engine is the lobe orientation is either front or aft because they're overlapping. So make sure that the right one's fore and aft. He said because that's how it would be reversed for this guy. And I don't know that I even stated that or articulated that clearly enough, but that I guess is going to be the next step. So I guess I'm taking this engine off and maybe doing another more complete disassembly to try to figure out what the hell's going on.